Hello everybody. Today we're going to show you how to solve an issue with a check engine light on a Volvo where when you scan the codes on it you get something like, I think it was a P0193 fuel pressure sensor high, circuit high or something like that. Or some of your other fuel pressure sensor type messages that you would get on a OBD2 scanner. If you have access to one of these scanners, they are incredibly useful. They are also very cheap. You can get them for like 20 bucks or so these days. So highly recommend you get one if you're going to be working on your own car. I have my daughter's Volvo here. I'll show you the picture of the message that she was getting. She was getting the check engine light, and I could see from the codes, as the message would come and go from the stored codes, what was happening. And my suspicion was that the fuel pressure sensor in the fuel rail was just starting to go bad. Car has 185,000 miles on it. Stuff like that's going to happen. If you think something like that is going on, you can plug in your OBD2 scanner, and most of these will let you see live diagnostics or live information. So you can actually go while the car is running and see what your fuel pressure actually is on the car to make sure you don't have a weak fuel pump or a stopped up fuel filter or something like that. This car we were reading consistently around 50 pounds or something like that. So I knew it was good except for those moments that the sensor was having issues and it wasn't able to read the fuel pressure. Car was running great. So, the sensor itself is starting to go. These things are super easy to replace. They're not expensive. About 50 bucks or so is what you can plan on spending on one. Let's show you under the hood of the car where you're going to find these things and how easy they are to replace. All right, here we are under the car right now. This right here, this rail in the front, the silver rail under the black cover, is your fuel rail. On one end of it, you're going to have a Schrader valve right there. This little thing, it looks like the cap on the end of your tire, because basically it's the same kind of thing. Down on this end, you're going to see that gray plastic piece. That is your sensor. It has a connector. There's a wiring harness there that kind of clips into it. Let me pop that loose. Right there. And there's one screw, a T25 Torx, that holds it on. All we've got to do is pop that off. So, sorry about that, I'm getting text. All we got to do is take that screw off, but the first thing we want to do is loosen this. Put a rag over this and then take a little small screwdriver and push down on the tip there to release the pressure in the fuel rail. Hang on just a second. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. If you look down in the center of that, see there is a little, right in the center of this is that little thing that you push down on right there. So I'm just using the tip of an old paintbrush here. Get you set up. I'm just going to take a paper towel. I'm going to position this over here so I know where it's at, and then push. Now the car hasn't been running in a while, so almost nothing came out of there. There's no pressure, and be careful. I had the cap sitting up here and it just dropped down there. So I just lost my cap. Thankfully that's the same as you find on like a bicycle or something like that, so I have spares, so I'm just going to grab a spare and put on there. And then we're going to go down to the other end of the fuel rail and replace the sensor. Hang on just a sec. Alright, I'm going to try to make this so that I don't get in your way too much here, but really all I've got to do at this point, and here is the new box for the new part. It is I guess that's the part number there. And it is always a good idea to take these out of the box. Make sure they look, oh there it is, look the same and match up. And it does. So let's set the new part right there. There is a clip right here. Have to push on that and pull. And sometimes it can be a little bit difficult to get it to come loose. So you may have to take your finger or a screwdriver and get up under there, but there we go. It's come out. Set that off to the side, just let it dangle there. Get ourselves our T25 and take that loose. It comes loose very easy. There may be fuel that comes out of this when we remove it. Don't lose the bolt. There we go. That's all it is. Nothing special, just a little screw. Now, just in case there is some fuel that dribbles out, I'm going to put something down there to catch it. But all I've got to do is wiggle this. See, because it just presses in with an O-ring. To remove it there. And there is fuel that comes out, so I want to be quick at getting that back in. Ooh, it stings. I got a cut there. And we're going to want to line our bolt hole back up. Get it started. Snug it down. We're not going to want it super tight. My Band-Aid come off. Adhesive dissolved with the gasoline. Notice this does have a metal sleeve in it right there, so you can't crush it too hard, but you don't want to get stupid with it. Just snug it down good, that's all. No super high torque or anything. Clip it back into place. Put our wiring harness there. Back into place. Get all of our stuff out of the way. And then I'm going to move you over here. And we will go start the car up. Now, it is a good idea also to cycle your key once to let the fuel rail pressure build back up, since we just emptied half of it. Now, one thing we want to do while this is running is check in here and make sure it's sealed itself well, and it should. There's no fuel leaks or anything, no gas coming out, no drips, runs, errors, or anything like that. And we look to be good. Sounds great. And if I can find my scan tool, I'll follow up here with a shot of our fuel pressure. Okay, I just checked the stored code. That's the stored code that we were getting right there. So we're going to go erase that. Yes. Okay, erased that. And we're going to go down to the live data. And we're going to select the items we want to view. Let's see. Fuel rail pressure. Fuel rail pressure, I've got 43.9 psi just sitting at an idle. So I think the fuel pressure looks pretty good on that. So we're getting the sensor reading. Looks pretty good to me. So we're going to call her good.